The intervention video, an introduction to peer tutoring. What is peer tutoring? Peer tutoring includes a range of approaches in which learners work in pairs or small groups to provide each other with explicit teaching support. One type is fixed role tutoring. This is usually where you have cross-ability tutoring in which one learner, who is often older, takes the tutoring role and is paired with a tutee or tutees who are often younger. A second type is reciprocal role tutoring, where learners alternate between the role of a tutor and a tutee. So is peer tutoring effective? Back in 2013, there was a great graph that was shown by Professor Rob Coe in Improving Education, a Triumph of Hope Over Experience, where it mapped out the strategies from the Pupil Premium Teaching and Learning Toolkit from the Education Endowment Foundation against the cost of the cost per pupil and the effect size. And you can see from here that back then, peer tutoring was identified as a promising intervention because it had a relatively high impact and the cost was low per pupil. So are schools using peer tutoring as a targeted academic intervention? So back in 2013, 1 in 100 teachers said that they would use peer tutoring interventions in their school. This is even though the EEF Teaching and Learning Toolkit highlighted this as a highly promising approach. In 2020, there was a Teacher Tap survey of just over 6,400 school teachers. And of these, 4% of primary school teachers and 12% of secondary said they would consider using peer tutoring if the COVID restrictions would permit this. So what worked? We did a quick rapid review of 3 local authorities, which included 425 schools, to look at their 3-year pupil premium strategies. And we found that 80% of schools were using research evidence to justify the strategies that they had in their pupil premium statement, which is great. But what we did find was that only 1% of schools highlighted that they were using peer tutoring as a current strategy or that they plan to use this in the next 3 years. So this is very similar to what we found back in 2013 by the Sutton Trust. So what does the current evidence say about peer tutoring? If you look at the Education Endowment Foundation Teaching Learning Toolkit, you will see that this is a robust evidence behind it in that it's got 4 padlocks. The progress is roughly 5 months in attainment and the cost is low. The effects are similar at 5 months for both primary and secondary age pupils. The impact is similar at 5 months for both literacy and mathematics. And lower attaining pupils tend to benefit significantly more at 6 months than higher attaining pupils. And the impact on tutors is generally slightly higher. However, the evidence for this is weaker due to the limited amount of robust studies. So let's have a quick listen to Professor Steve Higgins, who's co-founder at What Worked Education, on what are the potential benefits of peer tutoring.
There are a number of benefits from peer tutoring for students. So if you look, for example, at cross-age peer tutoring, where you have an older student tutoring a younger student, people worry that the older student isn't going to be learning anything. But actually the evidence suggests that they're likely to learn as much, if not more, than the student that they're tutoring. And that's partly because in order to teach it, you've got to think about how you present the idea, you've got to understand the task or the problem that you're teaching, and it develops your metacognitive awareness of problems of that kind or reading issues of that kind. There are a number of benefits.
So you can see that with peer tutoring, a number of benefits that you potentially have for your students. So the next video to move on to is the implementation overview on how to implement the intervention in your school.